We're going to be talking about no other thing than how to reimagine education through partnerships post-pandemic. Our first speaker is no other person than Mrs. Bolaji Osime. Ms. Bolaji Osime is very seasoned and very qualified, eminently qualified to address this topic. So, Ms. Bolaji, we await you. You have ample time to enlighten us, educate us, and open up our minds for the next 20 minutes. So kick back, relax yourself, take down notes. There are pens in front of you. Take down as many notes as you can. Welcome, Mrs. Bolaji. Put your hands together for her, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's so awesome to be here. And me too, I will stand on existing protocol. Because that's what everybody has been saying. But I like to recognize the parastatals, Federal Ministry of Education, and other parts and the water resources. I'd like to recognize you first because I think it's so critical that we engage. And when government comes like this, it's so good because multi-sectoral is so important for what we're doing in Nigeria. We're working in silos too much. So I just want to recognize you. I want to recognize also NAPS. And my fellow educators, Mrs. Ajala, I can see you there. My fellow educators, I want to recognize you. And everyone that is here, you're so important for what we're doing in education. Education is not in a good place at all. At all. I've been on this journey for a long time. And I was part of the reforms that was done in 2008 when Dr. Ezekiel Sidi was there. And unfortunately, those reforms were not upholded. And now we see what is happening in Nigeria. I was going to talk to the Hungarian representative. My students go to Hungary. You know, a lot of them have gone to Hungary for years for medicine. So we're happy to actually, meet him and to see him and what they're doing. And for the diplomats that are here, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So like I said, this journey has been long. And I'm going to talk, I have a cold. I don't have a cold in Jesus' name, but I have, this is making my voice a bit muffled. I was just praying all night that I'll be able to do this. So pray with me. So I just wanted to sort of say, if we do not reimagine education, if we do not rebrand education, if we don't have a new education, can you imagine in your mind what Nigeria will be in just 5 years? Yesterday I was coming in from Lagos. Apart from the fact that they delayed the flight because aviation fuel is expensive, they're finding it difficult to get aviation fuel. We were now stuck in the air for 15 minutes. They said we should stop that Abuja airport had been closed. And you are there in the air, you're like, what's going on in Abuja? Are we going to turn back or whatever? So I get on the ground and I was still wondering, and then a video pops up on the diaspora platform that there was some riots in Lugbe and something was happening. So I asked my young man who came to pick me, Oji, what happened? He said, when he was coming, there was a lot of police and all of that. But it's been quenched. So what would happen in just 5 years if we do not reimagine and rebrand education? Take your mind and think that what would happen. We have 200 million now. By 2050, we're going to have 400 million. We have a very youthful population. Half of our population are young people. And they're very restless, they're agitated. ASU strike has put them at home. They are not getting education, they're not getting skills. Guess what? What's going to happen? Why do we have the kidnapping that we're having? Why do we have banditry? Right now we have 30 million out of school. Guess what? That is an army that is waiting to become bandits if we do not do something. So we have to stand up. Just reimagine that if we do not rebrand education now. This system is failing our students. This is a system that was built for industrial age, not for 21st century, fourth revolution. Thank God for COVID. It was a bad thing that happened. But COVID now pivoted us. We didn't have a choice. When God works, he works in mysterious ways. He works everything for good. And all of a sudden, those of us in education had to, even governments had to pivot because we needed to educate our children. And technology now became the buzzword. Webinars became the buzzword. Everybody was meeting and doing stuff all over the place. So like I said to you, if we do not reimagine education, if we do not rebrand education, if we do not overhaul the education in Nigeria, we're going to be ending up where a ticking bomb ready to explode. And we all know it. So let me go on. Just a few words before I go to my slides. So I just wanted to say that we need an education that will connect our students to the real world. Right now, we have massive syllabuses of WAEC. It's a struggle to even finish the syllabus. They tell me that it's not 18 subjects. As far as I'm concerned, it's 18 subjects. They have put it in thematic areas. So you can imagine that a student has to go through so many subjects, so much theory, just to pass an exam. And when they pass that exam, all of you that went to university, how much are you using now in the workplace out of what you are taught in school? How much of it? I'm a lawyer by profession. I'm now in education. How much of the stuff, how much of the stuff that you learned, history is good, but some stuff that you learned, how much of it are you looking? Are employers looking at your WAEC results? Are they looking at your WAEC results, or are they looking at other things? So we have to make sure that we are connecting our students to the real world problems. We have problems in Nigeria. It is not foreigners that are supposed to be resolving our problems. It is our human resource. And we can resolve the problem of all the roads. Look at Lagos, for example. What can we do? What are the alternatives? The grid broke down a few months ago. We didn't have lights all over the nation. And yet, we have people that can resolve the problem. So we need to connect our students, first of all, to what the employers are asking for. We have nearly 40% unemployment in Nigeria, 38% of the youth that should be employed between the ages of 18 to about 35. 30-something% unemployment are on the street selling recharge cards. So that is something that we have to think about. So just going on and saying, what do we need to do? We have to teach our children. We have to be student-centered. I'll go through my slides quickly, and hopefully I'll be able to convey my message to you today. So that's me there, looking younger, of course. I always use that picture. So, for example, if somebody was on a dating online, somebody was like, okay, somebody put a picture there. But when I saw it in real life, it wasn't real. So they put all their younger picture. When you're on Facebook, please, you put your, the picture that moves you. So, Global International College. Oh my goodness. So some men will come and say, So they now tell you must put the right picture there. So anyway, but they asked me for the one that is good. It's that said I should send her something that will work. And hopefully this works. So I'm a founder CEO of Global International College Secondary School. I've been in Abuja as a sixth form for nearly 19 years. So I'm in Abuja and I'm in Lagos, and I've been educating young people for the last 2 decades. It's been an amazing, and I could not exchange it for anything else, except maybe the presidency of this nation. To be the first president of Nigeria. I have to, so I'll go and buy their form, APC form. I'll be the number something. If you people will gather 100 million for me, I will do it. So what we have, so I've been in education, guess what? And then I also pivoted. So I have what is called Global Reimagine Online. So you can imagine I'm Reimagine as well. And then, of course, I'm the co-founder of ERIT, which is Education Reform Innovation Team. That is what we are. I'll talk a bit about that later. Sorry. Okay, so, this thing is not working. Okay, great. So what's the background and context why we're here? COVID. Why are we reimagining education? And this is what happened. This is a context. And nearly 46 million in Nigeria with over 30 million out of school. 85% of the world learners were affected. Everybody was locked down 2020. We were able to get back later on, but we struggled. So there was lots of learning, particularly with government schools and low-income schools. And this manifested in high dropout rate. Unfortunately, Nigeria doesn't do data, and we don't monitor, and we don't evaluate. So when you ask state government, how many students have dropped out since COVID, you really cannot get the number. Yes, that's why international agencies are very important. And I know for sure in Lagos, the Honorable Commissioner had mentioned that there were quite a few students that dropped out. They didn't come back to school. So that happened. And that has also we saw a lot of psychological and emotional issues with the students. In fact, when we told them to come back, they were, they loved online, they liked being there, but they were missing each other. So by the time we had to come, they said, please, we need to come back, Apart from the fact that their parents were sitting next to them when they were online, and their parents were now monitoring them, they had become teachers, so they wanted to escape from home. So these are the challenges that we had against the context. And then also managing challenges with internet. If parents are not, you guys know what happened with Chrisland and what happened with Dowen College and all of that stuff. If we do not monitor the use of internet as well as educators, they go to several places. So that was a challenge. Then access and equity widened. It widened because a lot of students in public sector and a lot of students who are out of school could not get education, so it widened. So parents were also challenged. A lot of parents were calling us, please come and take them, come and take them. Oh, we didn't know. We respect you people now. We didn't know that this work is so hard. I said, hello, hi. Yet you'll be complaining that we're collecting school fees. So it was challenging for parents. And teachers also had to pivot suddenly. So what is the ticking bomb we have here? Nigeria has a population of about 200 million people. 60% of the 200 million people are between the ages of 18 to 40. That's 120 million. That is an issue. That's a big issue. When you have a youthful population, why do you think they're going to Canada? Canada has an aging population. So they desperately need our young people. And they are moving to Canada in their droves. Now, UK has opened up again. UK has seen that Nigeria is a place to gather human resource. Yet, what are we doing with our own human resource? 35.5% of the youth population are unemployed. 43 million unemployed. They're unemployed or unemployable. Because our education system needs to be rebranded. Because our education system needs to be reimagined. And I want to say to educators, I want to say to government officials, if COVID has given you the opportunity, you better take it. You better take it and let it be that we are pivoting and we are using technology to improve access, to improve quality education, and to improve so many things that technology can do for us. I know that, I don't know if Koyejo is around, and some of our tech friends. Koyejo, God bless you. We have let me continue so that I can go to my slides. Okay, so when I say a ticking time bomb, what do I mean? For example, now, access is being denied to many talented young people, like we have talked about. In university, we can only take 30%. This year, every single year, go and check the stats. 1.9 million applied for JAM. They applied this year for JAM. I don't think Nigeria, I think it's about 2 years now. I don't know how long ASU strike has gone on. So the backup that is there, that haven't even finished their education, they're there. Yet, we are churning out more from senior secondary school. 1.9 million every year, and we have only 30% capacity. How can we change that narrative? How can we use technology? Because government cannot have all the money. There's a statistics that says Nigeria needs 10 universities every week. Every week. I know we have over 200 or so, but we're talking about millions of young people. Do they all need to even go to university in the first place? Those are the questions we need to ask ourselves. So, Nigeria is still the poverty capital of the world. We can do all the gang and put all the makeup and do everything. It's when you get to the other side, when you get to airports, you see your green passport and they will say secondary checking. That's the way they rate us. They look at us, how can that be? How can we be the wealthiest country in the world, as far as I'm concerned? The human resources here, the mineral resources here, the oil and everything. How can that be, educators? How can that be? We need to change that. 40% of the population is extremely poor. In every 10 Nigerians live below $1 per day. That's World Bank. Nigeria is facing a severe shortage of highly skilled and knowledgeable leaders. We have the population. We have the resources. We have the oil. We have the mineral. We have everything, lovely weather. We do not have a tsunami. We do not have anything that is yet. What is going on? Those are the questions we want to answer today. We are, like I said, fourth highest unemployment rate in the world. How can we be in all these nonsense statistics? How can? Anytime I go about and I'm speaking grammar, they're just looking at me because they know the data. Unfortunately, they see social media has made the world flat. So everybody knows what's happening. You guys are always just rioting and fighting each other. What's going on? And it is the education sector. It is the skills. It is us here can change the narrative of Nigeria. So these are the stats. 30 million out of school, 78 million have no exposure to STEM. And this is the 21st century. 40% until recently, I don't know what happened during COVID, all of a sudden, all the WAEC results were so good. But I have a theory to that. I have a theory that they had enough time to finish the syllabus, and they did the exams in October, and they did well. Which tells you that NERDC, and Federal Ministry of Education, all of those parastatals need to look at what we are teaching. And we don't need all these subjects Honestly, we need in IGCSE, we teach IGCSE, we teach the Canadian curriculum, we teach this one curriculum. It's not more than 8 subjects. Because when you pack all this theory in their head, what time is the teacher going to have to be able to practicalize the knowledge? And we are talking about real life solutions. Where is the project-based learning going to happen? When everything they're doing is just cramming. Then they will now get to the exam. They will now pour it out. And after that, within 2 minutes or 2 months, they've forgotten everything. And then they go for employment and they are not employed. And then we start shouting that they are kidnapping us. Okay, so I've talked about this. Inadequate access and equality, high dropout rate, low employability, and all of that stuff. Okay, so the question is, this thing that's, okay, I think he adjusts himself somewhere. So education is in crisis. I have painted a gloomy picture. But I'm not a gloomy person. I'm such an optimist. And that's why I'm on this journey. And if anybody gave me anything else to do, I say take it. Like I said, it's only the presidency I want. Because if I get the presidency, then I know that the first thing on my agenda will be education. That will be my agenda. Because without education, you cannot change the world. That is the thing. So how do we pivot post-COVID to get the best out of our schools? Through partnership. We have a present need for qualified teachers. You cannot teach what you don't have. When you put a teacher in front of a student and he has not been properly taught, or he doesn't know what he's doing, how can he? Digital literacy. I'm not so sure. I think it's now that College of Education might be imbibing it. But we need to put digital literacy. All our teachers need to understand how to teach with digital tools. Building the foundation. How do we amplify the voices of the unheard? The students, we must hear their voice. I did something recently. Like I said, we have a platform called Global Online Reimagine. And what I say to tech all the time is that you need to talk to us educators. When you have a product and you bring it to us, it becomes a challenge because you have not talked to us about our needs. And when we tell you what our needs are, then you can now go and give a product. And that's why I got involved with tech. So I had a meeting and I gathered them around, gathered my teachers around, gathered my students around, and my students spoke, and my teachers spoke. So they now sort of understand what's happening with tech. Building the foundation through access to early child is so important. Early child education is the foundation. In fact, when you do not educate parents who do not make sure they put and bring values and bring the word of God into their children by the age of 7 and you build it, they say that you cannot do anything about that child. But I know that a lot of children can be redeemed. But we need early child. And then the question is, how does EdTech work in alignment with schools? I've just spoken about that. We need a stakeholder collaboration, just like what we have on a bigger level. Everybody needs to come together and talk about education. We need to bring our expertise to the table to solve a problem that affects all of us. We did this during COVID, so we can do it again. So those are some of the questions. I won't go through it. But we want to disrupt education. I want to talk about the positive. How do we do it? How are we going to reach millions of out-of-school children? How are we going to reduce the poor performance, poor outcomes of results? Not only WAEC, all through. Because, like I said, the foundation is built. If you don't build the foundation in primary, they go to secondary, the foundation is built. If somebody is scoring 20% in English in primary, and you do not, and you go, and some schools will now take them from primary 4 to JSS 1, or from primary 5 to, and they say, no, we want to escape, we want to save money. It is so wrong. Because they are missing on so many things that they're supposed to be taught. So how are we going to close their achievement? How are we going to improve the quality of the teachers? How are we going to upgrade our curriculum to meet 21st century needs? How are we going to prepare our students for the future jobs in industrial, fourth industrial? Right now, we are in the 19th century, not even 20th. So industrial, that's what we are preparing them for. How are we going to have concepts that we can teach them? Okay, so Nigeria must reap the benefits of a youthful population. That's my stance. We must reap it. We like to born Pekin. I'm burning. It's a good thing to born Pekin. In fact, let me not even go there. But those children, when we born them, now they must get jobs now, right? We must prepare for them. Anywhere in Nigeria, once you have a lot of kids hanging around, then you are looking for wahala. So, budget population of 200 million. By 2050, it's going to be 400 million. We're going to be the third largest nation in the world after India and China. Can I say that again? Third largest nation in the world after India and China. That is massive. This is the population that the world is looking at. And they're looking at us as consumers. They're looking at us as, oh, we can send human capital to them. We can do remote learning. We can do so much with this population. Just like what India is doing. I was at an EdTech conference in San Diego. And the largest platform, Bayous, that is doing online training for students, largest platform. Millions of users, millions of students. Educators, we need to ensure we engage tech. This platform is worth $22 million. And there are 2 Indians that set it up. His wife is a teacher. And that's what's going on in other countries. So we have a very youthful population. How are we going to turn this around? Yet millions are left behind. So we have like 91.4 million young people in our schools by GSS 3. By nursery, we have about 34.2. 10.1 million of 5 to 14 years old are out of school. 74% are expected to never attend school. We have a problem, a big one. Okay, so how are we going to build the broken walls like Nehemiah? This is the one that is I love. I don't like talking about problems too much. I do believe that we can resolve them when we come together. And like I said, the gaps and opportunity in the Nigerian education sector was highlighted during the pandemic. Reimagining education is essential to reap the benefits of a huge population of learners and deliver the experiences that today digital natives need and lifelong learners expect. We are teaching and we are educating digital natives. We are not teaching for our generation. We are teaching for the future. They are in the internet. They are on their phones. They are on their tablets. That's the way they engage. So when you come into a classroom and you don't engage and teachers cannot engage them, they become very bored and very uninterested and we lose them. So we need to engage them. When we engage them and they are part of the process of problem solving, I always say to people who come and apply for my job in my school, not even school, some other businesses I have, we sit around the table and we are brainstorming and they are looking at me and I'm like, tell me the solution now. Why did I hire you and pay you? They can't think because we haven't taught them to think. So these skills are so critical. COVID has shown us that now is the time to reimagine the experience for students and educators in the world. The Nigerian education system must provide access to quality, affordable. And that's where tech comes in. I know schools have a lot of overheads. I'm in school. Guess what? How much am I paying on PHCN and this? If I want to run away, as in when they bring that bill, what are we going? Parents are saying you cannot increase school fees. So it has to be affordable, and yet we have to provide this education. So how do we do it? And not just education and skills. To millions of Nigerian learners, relevant. I don't know how many industry people are in this room. Congratulations on this. I didn't congratulate you. Well done, 12 years. You've done such a massive... Please, she needs a round of applause for putting this together. God bless you. God bless you. By the way, she's my landlord. So I have to behave myself. That's why I have to fly in and say, you called, I am here. But how many industry leaders are here? Industry leaders are saying that we are not giving them what they want. But we have to work together. We have to collaborate. So some of the stuff that I've written here, I won't, quickly go, but I'm just saying, when we are reimagining education, this is what we need to do. It needs to be student-centered. It cannot be teacher-centered anymore. It cannot be what I'm doing now. Talking to you, and you're not talking back to me. After a while, some of you will just lose interest and start doing something else. I will go on your phones. That's what students do. It has to be an engaging class. It has to be engaging. So we need teacher-facilitated, no longer teacher-led. Which means you need to facilitate education now. You need to make sure your students understand project-based learning. They need to learn and understand so that when they get to the workplace, they'll be able to think and problem solve. We also need inclusive education, which means special needs, which means disadvantage. Everybody must be educated, including our marjories, everybody. Because if we do not educate everybody, one person, you saw it in Dowen College, you saw it in Chrisland. If we not build the values in our educational system, one child can bring down a school. We need to go back to our curriculum and rebuild our curriculum. So that's why I said value added, data driven, technology enabled. And some of the issues are here, what we're talking about. Next, let me go on to the next slide. Also, we need an education system that will build critical skills, creativity, collaboration, leadership, innovation, resilience in our students. Our young people don't have the resilience. They are pampered, they're over-pampered by us. So when they get abroad and they go abroad, it becomes a problem. Because Americans are built from when they are young to resist any pressure, to stand against any storm. We need to resist, we need to build that emotional intelligence. We need to prepare for jobs of the future, vocational skills, or in-demand skills. We have to be tech-enabled, flipped classrooms, very, very important. We are doing that in global. I try to inculcate my teachers. You don't need to teach all this stuff. Put it online like we did during COVID. Let them download it and read the stuff. When they come to school, then talk about it, give them a quiz, let them think about the solution, not just, teach. So we flip the classroom. The classroom now is at home. Then the real participation becomes the classroom. So, education reform, just to talk about us a bit. ERIT, that's a group that we are together. is one of us. We are a movement of patriots with a strong national culture, shaping the education landscape for a future-ready generation. So, everything, honestly, Nigeria is not made up of just a few people that you see. Nigeria is made up of good people like you. All of us mean well for Nigeria. So we come together and say, how do we make sure that the unheard students, the teachers that are not heard, how do we make sure their voices are heard? And to build a landscape for a future-ready generation. So this is our mission statement: value-driven, future-ready education for every Nigerian child. And to engage stakeholders like yourself and reconstruct and establish a sustainable educational policies, systems, and structures. So this is our ERIC theory of change. And what we have said is every learner must have access. Every learner must have a safe and nurturing environment. The national curriculum must be functional and it must be relevant to the needs of Nigeria and the employers. It also means that we must have competent educators. Every learner must graduate with competencies for life, work, and national development. So it's not just education, academic. Everything has to be in these young people. Okay, so we need to educate for the full labor chain. So when we are talking about academics, and this is where the partnerships are. So we have issues in education, and these are the partnerships. People who are in multimedia, who can do digital content, IT, digital assistance, teacher training, those are the partnerships. When it comes to post-secondary, employability skills, even from secondary and primary, we can start building employability skills. So we look at MOOCs, and we look at professional life skills, in-demand skills. All of these are the partners that we need in the education sector. So we cannot just leave them to go. There must be establishments who are trained. Like I know that Degagon is doing software engineering, some other establishments and do stuff like this. So when they leave secondary school, there's a student, I don't know if you saw the video, that was 16 years old, and he started coding, and his parents thought he was mad, that they wanted to take him for deliverance. And this guy now, he hasn't even been to university. He has been hired from Europe to come and work with them. He is earning millions, 16 years old. As students with coding and robotics, they don't need to go to university. In fact, sometimes university is a problem. Trust me, it's a problem. Because, okay, particularly Nigerian universities, because they're not even there. So once our students are at home, can they go online? Google has a lot of content. They can get certifications, and they can get jobs in Silicon Valley. Most of them are doing remote work. So we don't need to stay with what's happening in Nigeria and the trajectory of Nigeria and let Nigeria hold us back. We can change things by embracing what will give us access. And of course, corporate learning and all of that. Okay, so this is the same thing, talking about technology. Once we accept the premise that education is the most essential factor to build the wealth of a nation, we are halfway towards the nation we desire. Today's education is tomorrow's economy. We are in a digital economy, whether we like it or not. We are paying online. Everything we are doing is digitalized. All our laptops, all the information, that is where we are. So we need to build through this. STEM, IT, robotics, AI, very important. These are some of the in-demand skills that should be embedded in the curriculum, which NERDC should embed in the curriculum. We teach this subject, so I know that it's not embedded. In fact, that's the reason why I started teaching foreign subjects. If you do a WAEC, if you have a WAEC qualification, it doesn't prepare you to go to Canada. Because a lot of, advanced functions, calculus, a lot of the stuff, and then when you look at the IT, very watery. So as students in Canada, if you're going to grade 12, they're going to ask you about coding, how to code, how to prepare websites, how to do all sorts of things. And it's so strange. So we're teaching our students to do this through other curriculums. We need to embed this in the curriculum. So these are the partners that need to partner with us. They need to partner with the education sector. They need to partner with Federal Ministry of Education, government, everyone. Right. So what will the partners bring? Let me come to that. Now, I have to use glasses because I can't see. I can't see the print. I have to tell my person that is doing this to make sure that it's black next time. So, how do parents partner with us? Parents are the first teachers of their children. You see, we cannot be babysitting in school. We are not the first teachers. It's the parents. Parents must educate their children and put the right values in their children. How can a 10-year-old go on Instagram and be doing videos like what was? I didn't look at it too because I didn't want to believe. But that's what's happening. And she's coming from a home. And then the next thing is that they're blaming the school. So parents are the first teachers of their children. They need to support students morally and by values. Our next partner is EdTech, very important. They must unlock efficiency for teachers and technology in classrooms. They need to help us to put all our content online. Online tutoring, exam preparation, everything can go online now. Even textbooks, students in government schools don't get textbooks. So how are they going to pass exams without textbooks? But we can upload this, ebooks. It's done everywhere in the world. We need to pivot. We need to leapfrog into the 21st century in Nigeria. Because we are very great people. And we are the biggest and the giant of Africa. So we cannot be behind when they are talking about all of these things. We cannot be looking and say, what is AI? What's this one? What's that one? Okay. Connectivity. During COVID, it was a challenge for public schools. And I remember during COVID, most of the universities were not online. How can that be? We need connectivity. We need for that to be provided in our school. Broadband. Funding is very important. Like EdFin does funding for education sector. We need more people. Sterling Bank focusing. We need them coming together with us to reimagine education. We need devices in our schools. Preloaded, like what Koyejo is doing with Chronicles. Preloaded devices. We need it in our schools. We need computers. We need phones for students. Preloaded for the people that cannot have access to internet because rural areas and all of that. There are so many things that technology can do to get access to 13 million. All those 13 million students can work from their home. Radio programs, television programs, anything. We need to put it together. So these young people have access to education. It does not have to be in the four walls of a school. It can be in the resource center. It can be anywhere. It can be a hub, but we need access. Telcos need to partner with us. Do you know the amount of money MTN is making here? Our government must make a demand on MTN and all these telcos. At least give us, if not zero data in our government schools, they give us some reduction. Because if we're going to access, and the students are saying, it's too expensive, my data, parents are complaining. So these are the partners we are looking at. School associations. During COVID, I'm a member of APEN. I'm also, I think, a member of NAPS, but I don't get any information from NAPS. So, I don't know how to do, but I love what is happening in NAPS. NAPS has engaged funding for their members. And that's what we're talking about. Because somebody approached me and said, look, I'm looking for schools who want money. NAPS has engaged funding. So it's so good what's happening with NAPS. APEN is doing a lot of good work as well. A lot of awesome work. We met so many times. Thank God for Zoom. Thank God now we can meet. We don't need to go to Ikeja in 2 hours traffic. So that is helping us. And we are sharing resources. Like I said, employers have to be in the room when we're talking. We are educating for employment. We are educating for them to employ our students. We want internships during holidays. We need jobs from them. So we need to talk. How many minutes? Okay, 5 minutes. No problem. Psychologists are important. Let me go to government because I don't have time. So you can read the other ones. Government, relevant and responsive curriculum. Government must address implementation issue. There are so many policies, but how do state governments, how do commissioners implement them? We must invest in teachers. We must improve data at MS. Funding. The rights, UBEC must not continue to be funding infrastructure alone. There's so much, technology is so critical for them to fund. TED fund, they need to fund all those things. They need to look at alternative source for energy. Very important. Like was saying, she came here, she was using a phone. We can power this place. In my estate in Lagos, it is 24 hours electricity. Not one second. It goes for 1 second and comes back. So if an estate like that can do it, the whole of Nigeria should be able to do it. Alternative sources of let me go to the next slide. I think I'm sort of. So what makes an effective partnership? We must have a shared vision. We must all believe that we want a value-based education for our students. We must all believe that it must be relevant. We must all believe that we have to build skills. We must have shared values too when we are coming together. We must give affordable access. We must use data to inform sources. It must be sustainable, it must have impact, and we must be scalable. Stakeholder engagement, transparent and honest conversation like we're having this morning. innovation, etc., and etc. These are some of our partnerships for me in global. So I have all these partners. I partner with the American Diploma. I do the American Diploma. I do the Canadian Diploma. I do all of these ones. EDX is MOOCs. We are talking to EDX, NCCE, 1 million teachers, technology, and of course, some of the banks, Udacity as well. So this is what we've done in global. Global Reimagine. We have a test prep for WAEC, so students can go on. We were not able to launch it before WAEC this time. You can go there and everything is online. You have all your parts, because we've done this for 20 years. And I told my teachers, we've done this. And you see the challenges they're having making good results. Let them go home and be able to access all this information you are doing. You guys are overworked, overburdened, and sometimes we say you're underpaid. So let a digital assistant, which is your technology, be doing all of this. So that's what we're doing. And we are going to launch that very soon. And it's going to cover all curriculums, including NAPTEP as well, by God's grace. So these are partners of ERIT. That's the organization I talked about. So we have many partners that's come together with us. And then this is public sector. I just wanted to mention this. In Lagos State, this is what Lagos State did. They partnered with Educate, with Success Box, and that is Koyejo. They had radio lessons. So government had to pivot. And I know Federal Ministry of Education has the Nigeria Learning Passport that they have uploaded some of the content on. Thank you very much. God bless you all.